This episode of PDX Spotlight is brought to you in association with Portland Radio Project.
Hi, we're Red Fang.
And you're watching PDX Spotlight.
Welcome to PDX Spotlight. I'm your host, Luke Neal, here with you today from the basement of the Wonder Ballroom with Red Fang. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
We've got a big event this weekend. You've got 2 shows at the Wonder Ballroom. How does it feel to kind of come here and have a couple sold out shows back to back?
I'm excited to not have to load out tonight, but I mean, no, it's very exciting that we haven't played our hometown in a long time, so it's nice that people remember us. We're still a band.
Well, you've been busy. You did a fall tour, West Coast tour. You hit a bunch of cities. Do you have any favorite memories from the West Coast tour?
There's a spot in California called Pioneer Town that they built basically for as a Western TV set for, like Gunsmoke and shows like that. And then it got transformed into an actual little town, and there's a club out there called Pappy and Harriet's, which is basically like a little honky tonk that they now have a fully like professional sound system, and they have a There's a ranch nearby that I guess provides a bunch of beef, whatever, for the restaurant. So they have this amazing restaurant, an amazing little venue, and we've been wanting to play there for years. And we played our first like headlining show there, and it was everything that we'd hoped it would be, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it's a super magical place. Like I'm not a very spiritual person in general, but I have said, and I, without irony or anything, that it feels like mystical, kind of, out there in the Joshua Tree National Forest. It's beautiful.
Pretty separated from a lot of things out there too. I'm sure you've played a bunch of crazy venues. Is that one of the most original you've played?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about it is that it's out, and it's an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Los Angeles, out in the desert. There's like the actual town of Pioneer Town probably has 30 people who live there, year round. So it's a full-on destination style show, it's pretty flattering to have people come all the way out to see us in a spot like that. So,
and it's nice to have it to be an excuse to take at least a short vacation.
Yeah,
because nobody's driving home after that show. No way.
No.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Not.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you went on the road to support obviously your catalog, but in August you released a new single, "Listen to the Sirens," which is a really cool cover by Tubeway Army, which is the Gary Newman project, the synthwave project before he did all of his solo stuff. Couple questions. How do we decide that single, and how is it translating something from a synthwave genre into something heavier?
I mean, we're all fans of Gary Newman and Tubeway Army. I think it was probably John and/or David's idea. Was it your idea?
No, so those guys, they knew about Tubeway Army way before I learned about that band through them. So
yeah.
I think it was either John or David. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the case with quite a few of the covers that we've done that I haven't necessarily even known the song before we did it, and it's always fun for me to try to learn a totally different style. And with that one, I think it was a pretty straightforward process of just kind of making a kind of rock version and then adding a couple, pieces of salt and pepper afterwards.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it a little trashier.
Yeah.
Make it more of a rock thing.
I think the vocal treatment and approach is a nice tip of the cap to the original, but everything else is signature Red Fang, a huge big wall of sound.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the band's common influences that maybe you all listened to growing up, and maybe some of the bands that are influencing you these days.
I think the one thing that sort of united us right at the start was that we were all fans of Soundgarden. And it's something that it's pretty hard, I think, for any band, but maybe a little bit more so for us to try to do anything that sounds like Soundgarden. They just have their own thing, and they're also much better musicians than we are. So that's sort of like more of the mood that kind of unified all of us. But for me, a lot of what ends up seeping into the songwriting is like a lot of local bands, more regional, whatever, like Big Business and Federation X and Helms Ali, and there's just a lot of sounds that surround us living in this part of the world that seep into the songwriting that I do, at least. Hot Snakes is a really big influence. Jesus Lizard and No Means No those are kind of, at least for me.
right, Brian, let's talk about your influences right now. Who are some of the folks that you listened to growing up? I mean, when I listen to Red Fang, the wall of sound that you all have is super great. Yes, I hear some Soundgarden influences. I hear Clutch. I hear Queens of the Stone Age. You know, there's just this really powerful thing to it. But I also hear Sabbath, and I hear, you know, a lot of that really cool early stuff. So where's the ring for you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I don't know. I mean, I'm more influenced. It doesn't have to necessarily be rock and roll music. It's more of like we were talking about Soundgarden having a mood. Well, that's, you know, those are the bands I gravitate towards. You know, whether it's like Bauhaus or I don't know. I mean, or Willie Nelson or whatever. It's like if there's something like I kind of prefer a sad song to a happy one. So I think that's kind of when I'm listening to music. Those are the things that I probably draw from the most, are depressing little jams. Yay!
Catharsis.
Happy holidays,
Yeah.
everybody.
And when you're looking to the future, obviously you've put out some big LPs. What's that like for collaboration? Is one person bringing in material and the band jams it out together, or you emailing stuff throughout the months? How does that come together for you?
We're still very much a regular get together and play music.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think that this town is getting really congested. My wife is making her crazy. You know, so she wants to get out of town. I'm like, babe, I can respect it, but the thing is, I cannot be an email band. I mean, I just don't. You have to be in the room with the other people. And it's not to say that we don't rehearse. We do have like what I call nerd practice, where typically Aaron and I will get together and chop up, you know, demo tapes and just kind of Frankenstein them to see where they land, just so, you know.
It spares like people the sort of drudgery of just like, okay, let's try it now. Like, do that 5 times instead of 4 times. Okay, now let's play this whole section again with those 2 parts at the beginning. You know, you can just kind of do it in the computer or whatever.
Yeah.
So we do that, but we don't really write songs by sending back and forth. You know, the computer comes in handy sometimes just for home experimentation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now, when you listen to your records, I think it kind of mirrors the energy of your live shows, and there's not many bands who can capture that on record, so it obviously plays into what you do well, is playing music in a room together. How do you stay focused on a tour, or when you're playing a doubleheader like tonight? And, I mean, what's your approach to put on a good show every night when you're hitting it night after night?
My approach is to blame the audience for when the show isn't very good.
There you go.
So,
Blame throwing.
yeah. I guess, like, it's not really that hard when you just take a second to just reflect on the fact that we're extremely lucky to be able to do this for a living, and that it's just ridiculous to not, I mean, at least this is the kind of process that I've gone through, is there's been shows when like I felt like crap during the day, or I'm super sick, or, you know, I'm missing my son because I've been away from home for a long time. But if you just take a minute to reflect on how lucky we are to do the thing that we do for a living, then it's really pretty stupid and silly to be like in a bad mood during that hour that you're on stage. Like, you can be in a bad mood all day, that's fine. But for that hour, at least for me, I just refuse to let myself be in a bad mood during that hour, because I think it's kind of like you're being a whiny brat, basically, if you're having a bad time on stage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree. It's the funnest hour I have all day on tour, typically, you know. And it's like, then there's all the logistics. You're like, oh, I've got to find a toilet that isn't disgusting, or I got to find food that's not Taco Bell, but we had to fail at that and then eat a Taco Bell again anyway. You know, and there's all kinds of things about being on the road that are not ideal. It's not what you would choose to do. And basically, you're not choosing how you live your life. You're doing things for the band. But that 1 hour, hour and 10, whatever, it's like, if you're not enjoying that 100%, then there's no reason to do it at all.
Yeah.
You know?
What's some of the feedback from the fans been on the new single? You know, this is a day and age where people aren't putting out LPs as much anymore. So how's that received from the fan base?
I've been pretty pleasantly surprised with how many people are excited about it and want to hear it. And like the nights that we don't play it, there, you know, people are bummed out that we didn't put it in the set or whatever.
That's cool.
So because it is pretty different from our style, you know, we had fun learning it and recording it, and to have people actually get really excited about it it's pretty rewarding. I mean, that's not why we do it. We do stuff more to satisfy our own need to create music and to play music together. But yeah, having people respond positively is always nice.
Yeah, it's a trippy song. So I mean, it's compared to our other ones, it's
Yeah.
like what? So, but that's what I like about it. It's like, man, I don't need to hear carbon copy rock song over and over again.
Sure. Yeah, I think if it's great in the catalog.
It's not the truth I see. It's just a mockery. Don't want to waste this time. You know I really tried. You take and never give. You make it hard to live. I'm hanging on a limb. Push me over the edge. Don't do the things you do. Don't have to applaud you. Don't make the choices said. You're not to try and prove. Don't want to be a man. Just stop and drop dead. I'm hanging on a limb. Push me over the edge. It's not the truth I see. It's just a mockery. Don't need to waste my time. You know I really tried. Can't take it and to live. It makes it hard to live. I'm learning on the limb. Push me over the
Well, of course, we're focused on the show tonight and tomorrow night here at the Wonder Ballroom. It's really cool that you're here. It's a beautiful venue. I think it's really fitting to celebrate Red Fang for these 2 nights. Moving past that, what's on the docket for 2019 for you guys?
Do you have anything on your docket, Brian?
I'm going to Mexico
Nice.
for like a week. It's going to be great. Me and my wife, and just drink margaritas by the pool.
Perfect.
Yes, that's how I do my
not a bad
vacations.
agenda.
I go there and then I stay there. I don't mess around. I'm not on a horse or, hang gliding. I'm drinking margaritas by the pool, and that is it. And maybe there's a book involved. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to that.
But I think we have our vacations planned for the same week. I'm going to Hawaii, a yearly trip with my wife's family. But yeah, we're basically just buckling down and writing. So it's time for a new record. And we have close to 400 or 500 riffs that currently haven't found homes in songs. So
Nice.
And those are just the recorded ones.
exactly, it's time to just start gluing stuff together and making the best possible, 30 minutes worth of 500 minutes of riffs. That's the main thing.
Have you guys landed on a studio or producer you want to work with? You going to go back to the same team?
Probably won't go back. I don't think that we'll go back to Ross's place in California, but you never know. We've been tossing around a bunch of names, but we haven't settled on anything yet because we need to have a couple more demos done, I think, and get an idea of what direction the record's going before we figure out who would make the most sense as far as engineer and where we want to do it and stuff. So,
But we do need to figure that out because
they get booked up fast. The good ones get booked up fast.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions?
Well, there's always, Supernatural in town's really great.
Yeah.
Big, good analog room. Hollowed Halls,
Yeah.
Mostly for good drum sounds.
Totally.
Well, I want to thank you guys for being on the show today. Any shout outs or goodbyes before we send you off?
I guess a shout out to my son, Nico. Hi, Nico.
And thanks to all of our fans in Portland.
And where can your fans and friends find you online?
All of our information is all consolidated into redfang.net, and you can find all of the socials and all that stuff through there.
Fantastic.
Redfang.net.
Redfang.net.
Yeah.
Once again, thanks for being with us on PDX Spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, Red Fang.
Thank you.
Pineapple!
She still doesn't know what I still don't know. To see when we go below, all songs I should know. guys so very, very, very much.